Yeah, I learned about Eric through a friend when I was still in school and joined his free 5-week course that he was doing at the time and loved the concept of becoming a creator. That's not something that I had ever really thought about for myself. And just thought about that and always had that in the back of my head. But if I remember the timing right, when I first met with him about potentially joining the program, I was 6 months pregnant, I think. So I was not in any position to be taking on a project like this. And so last summer, really, with COVID kind of slowing the entire world down and my daughter being one and all of those things, it seemed like a good opportunity to jump in and try. And the concept of my book was very different at the time. It was a lot about living in this messy middle. What does it look like to navigate that? And it kind of evolved over time to what it is now, which was much more of a field guide around using systems to make your ideas happen. But it was fun to kind of dive in with a general idea and to have permission to do that. Eric really set it up that you didn't have to know your thesis walking in, and maybe you shouldn't know your thesis walking in. And so I'm really glad that I had the structure that he gave us to be able to work through it in the course of the 10 months of the program.
I mean, it's much like a startup, right? It can be overwhelming to look at a book and say, where do I even begin?
Yeah.
In my book journey, I had a number of old friends send me notes that said, I've been trying to write a book for 10 years. How did you, and I've never gotten past chapter 2, this kind of thing. How did you do this? And having that structure, I think, is just so important. And
Yes.
what Eric Custer and the Creator Institute have brought, I think, is just extraordinary. And I love the fact that you started that with one idea, but much like, call it lean startup, you built it, you measured, you learned, and you made some pivots along the way and landed on the concept that you did, Eureka Results.
Yeah, it was actually really fascinating to me. And it's something that, in the Creator Institute, we talked about a little bit, but I didn't understand until I experienced it myself, how much the process of writing the book became incredibly powerful for me, not just for, articulating what I was thinking, but also helping me develop and deepen what I was thinking and why it mattered and where I wanted to plant my flag. And so I feel like where I am now, so much of my passion for this came from that process of investing so much time in talking to people about this subject in particular, with the goal of learning and writing and processing ideas and putting them together, right? So even if no one wrote the book, it would have been or no one read the book, it would have been incredibly helpful for me for that reason, because I was passionate about those things in a somewhat vague way. I was starting to see these patterns, or I recognized just my own natural inclination to organize things, and I like to do that for people, and I saw how that was helpful. But I didn't have the frameworks with which to think about it or articulate it to other people. And it's not a topic that most people are passionate about, right? And so I needed to learn how to talk about it in a way that people could see, like, oh, this could be really cool, actually, now that you say that. So I want to keep writing, even if it's not in book form, for the sake of continuing to deepen how I'm learning about these things and my own passion for them.